Structured data is important because it helps the search engines understand and categorize the content on your website. So there's thousands of types of schema out there, and this type of schema that works best for your site just really depends on your business, what type of content you're putting out there. If you have events listed on your page or on your site, if you have blog pages, there's lots of different types of content out there. So it just depends on what it is that your site has listed on it. And this is becoming a more and more important part of SEO as the search engines, Google in particular, are starting to really personalize the search results. And they're also starting to utilize Serp features, which I'll talk more about those in a moment. So if you're brand new to schema, you're not really sure what it is, you can use the structured data markup helper tool to kind of get a better understanding. So we're going to look at a live example here. I've come to the tool. I'm using Dinosaur Barbecue, which is a restaurant based in Syracuse, New York. They have a couple other locations. If you're in New York and you've never had Dinosaur Barbecue, highly recommend it. So in this case, I want to use the restaurant schema. And then I'm going to start tagging. And you'll see that it brings up the main homepage here. And on the right-hand side, you'll see that there's different elements that I can tag. So let's just say, for example, I'm going to tag this, and then I select what option. Obviously, this is an image, so I'm going to select image, and you'll see that it populates over here on the right-hand side. As I scroll down, let's say that I want to tag the Harlem location. I highlight all of this, and it's a city locality, so I'm going to tag that. And again, you'll see that it populates there. And then what you want to do is fill out as much of this other information as you can. If you don't have reviews on your site, for example, you might not be able to, but again, the more information that we can give, the better. So once I've tagged all of these items, I'm going to click Create HTML. And you'll see that it outputs here what's known as the JSON LD format. And you'll see it is code that goes on your site, but it's a lot easier to read, right? For us as humans, this is a lot more clear than that gobbledygook we were looking at on an earlier slide. You can see very clearly that it's a restaurant. Here's a link to an image. It has a location in Harlem. So again, it helps us read and understand the code, and it also helps the bots read and understand the code. And so then what you can do is actually download it and upload it right to your site from here. I'd also add that there's a lot of plugins out there, depending on what your CMS is, that can help you implement schema on your site. So there's a lot of different options out there, but this tool is really nice just for kind of getting a feel for what items should be marked up. Each schema type is going to be a little bit different. So I use the restaurant example here, but that's going to be different from, say, recipe schema or event schema. It's just different things that need to be marked up. So this can just kind of help you get a baseline understanding of what schema is, what items should be marked up, etc. Okay, so I mentioned Serp features. So here's an example of a couple different types of Serp features. So on the left here, we search for pancakes, and you can see that there's some star ratings outputting here. Now, a recipe with 4.6 stars on average with almost 13,000 reviews is probably a pretty good pancake recipe. So I'm much more likely to click this than just some other random link in the search results that I'm not really sure if it even has a star rating or how good it is, all that stuff. So you can also see here that these cards output with different recipes. So it has the image, it has the name, it's got the review schema down here. So again, these are all items in the search results that are much more likely to get clicks than, say, the plain old blue link is what we refer to, just an organic result as. So schema can help you break into some of these Serp features. We also have on the right-hand side here featured snippets, which are increasingly common for all types of queries. And sometimes they'll look a little bit different. This one is using a numbered list. Sometimes it'll be in a table format. Sometimes it'll be in a paragraph format. Sometimes it will have an image. Sometimes it won't. So they always look kind of different. But you can see here, again, I'm much more likely to click on this than I am to scroll down and click on an organic link. We also have the people also ask. So if I were to drop this down, it would show me a little snippet of content, and it would also give me a link to click through. So again, these are becoming much more common. There's other types of Serp features as well. These are just some high level ones. And implementing schema can help you get featured in some of these. And you might be asking, why is it important? Is it really worth it to go through all this effort? And I just want to share an example of a client in the e-learning space who recently earned a featured snippet for a very popular term, and their organic traffic increased by 121% in just 1 month. So obviously it can have huge impacts on your organic traffic if you're able to break into some of these Serp features. Now, if you're not sure if your site already has structured data, or let's say you implemented the structured data, but you're just not sure if it's working right, I'd encourage you to use the rich results testing tool. This can help you identify if there's any issues with your schema. So in this example here, I was looking at that old-fashioned pancakes recipe. You'll see that the breadcrumb schema is not working properly. There's errors that we need to fix. The other types of schema are working. They have this little green check mark, but there's some warnings. Generally, the warnings mean there's items that you could mark up that you didn't. It will still show in the search results, but again, the search engines want as much information as possible. So I would definitely, in this case, address those errors if I want the breadcrumb schema to work, and then turn my attention to the warnings and say, okay, can I fill out these items in the structured data? Can I not? And sometimes you can't, and that's okay. Again, the warnings are just that, a warning.